Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How you all doing? Welcome to the first episode of my Paris Troy, A Total War Saga campaign Let's Play. The guys over the Creative Assembly were kind enough to give me early access to record some campaign footage here today, so a huge thank you to them and their community team. For further information about Troy, check out the Epic Games store page linked in the description below. Troy is coming out on the 13th of August for free for the first 24 hours. So go down there, click the link. I believe it's coming out on the 14th in Australia. I don't want you guys to miss out on it, so make sure you get your time conversions correct. Also guys, if you already make purchases on the Epic Games Store, use creator code SimpzyTotalWar at checkout to flick me a couple of bucks. It really supports the channel. So I'll go through the intros and then we'll get stuck into the Paris campaign.
Are we mere playthings of the gods? Or do we plead divine influence to justify our foolish choices?
He's taken her! He's taken my wife! You've risked the safety of Troy.
Troy is my home now.
You have my oath, brother. She will be returned to you.
Brother, I can fight! Go, seek shelter. There'll be plenty of fighting ahead.
The wrath of Achilles will descend upon Troy. Paris acted in love, but he has incited war. Whether the walls of Ilios will endure, only the gods can tell. Ah, magnificent Paris. Menelaus of Sparta is devoured by rage after you eloped with his wife, Helen.
Paris of Troy must pay!
War will surely follow. As you sail homewards with Helen, away from the turbulent clouds gathering in the west, you consider the reaction of your brother, Hector.
Brother, your foolish passion has doomed us.
You rule over Troad from your mighty citadel, where fair Helen can gaze out over the wine-dark sea. The rich eastern lands are beyond the reach of the Achaeans. Your brother Hector guards Troy's approaches. On the southern coast of Troad, an Aeolian king has secured a foothold on Trojan soil and now awaits Achaean reinforcements. This dangerous invader ravages the land from his base on Lesbos. In the north, the Pelasgian stronghold could be a useful ally. On the nearby western islands, your god-touched brother Troilos protects the coast in the name of your father, King Priam. Your kinsman Aeneas holds the Hellespont for Troy.
Fear not, noble cousins. I stand with you.
Hold on to your love for your father, your family, and your wife. Draw on that strength to repel the enemies of Troy.
Okay guys, welcome to the campaign map. Let's get stuck into Paris, Prince of Troy. Rightio, so the main objective of this mini-series is to conquer and build a mighty Eastern Trojan Empire on the border of Asia Minor here and prepare for the Danaan/Achaean assault to come. Also guys, please do take into consideration there are some restrictions on this campaign, similar to the Menelaus series, if you haven't gone and watched that just yet. So I'm only able to showcase 90 minutes of gameplay, so there's going to have to be some editing and stuff here in battles, because I have to condense basically 40 turns, 4 to 6 hours into 3, maximum 90 minutes of videos, so please do take that into consideration. But for this series, In the Menelaus one, we built up and basically just tried to rush the Trojans. I do recommend going and seeing the results in that. So we're going to be playing as Paris. He actually starts as a hard starting position, apparently, which I kind of disagree with a little bit, just due to the amount of rich and wealthy cities we have over here in the east. So we'll go through his unique campaign mechanics and whatnot. So we've got the victory conditions, Homeric to Total War, Royal Decrees, we're going to go down through the growth buff. Allies wise, we're going to be allying up with Priam, my father, of course Hector, my brother, Aeneas, my cousin, essentially allying up, trying to get good relations and economic resources from my ethnic Trojan allies. So what we want to try and do is capture as many territories in the east as quickly as possible. There are some rebel kings, sort of ethnically and allied to the Western Achaeans, so we might have to push down to Lesbos early on to deal with the rebel king. We've also got the Amazonians over here in Asia Minor as well. So I'll be able to show you guys the unique faction mechanics for Paris as well, which I'm excited about. Paris is an interesting character because he's a archer unit. His faction specializes in range supremacy, and if you've already seen the Menelaus campaign, the slingers have been really beneficial. So we've got a couple of gods we can invoke here. Hera I really do quite like with the 20% buff. However, we've got a fair few unique faction mechanics with Paris, and which we'll need to go down to. We need to go with certain gods, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But first up, we have the Helen, my love mechanic. So basically, as Paris goes around conquering settlements and lands, he has to bring around Helen with him to get faction buffs. If you don't send her around and hold festivals and feasts and stuff, she's going to get very upset. So we basically have to carry her around the campaign map. We've also got the Priam's heir mechanic. Now, obviously, King Priam, my father of Troy, needs to have a next heir, and he's got two sons vying for it. Obviously, Hector, my older brother, would be in the line of succession, but both boys have a claim, I guess, and the more we can sort of live up to my father's legacy, the more missions we complete, the more successful we are in the campaign and the battlefield, fulfilling missions, taking certain settlements and whatnot. We can level that up to get unique faction buffs as well. We've got the Helen Gardens as well, which is a special building for Paris of Troy himself, which allows us to deploy her cheaply and whatnot. So unlike in the Menelaus series, we're not going to be able to call to arms and sort of spam out military allied units just yet. So we're going to actually have to build up our economical might. But this is going to be fun. I'm curious to see how many settlements I can take in the Far East, sort of fighting maybe fellow Trojans and Achaean loyalists. So already here the balance of power is crazily in my favor because we've got two fantastic higher tier archers. So let's get stuck into the first battle of the series. We've got two clubs, two spears, Paris of course. The best way to describe Paris on the battlefield, he's kind of similar. If you guys have played Total War Warhammer 2, he's kind of similar to a Marcus Wolfheart type of hero. In Troy, there are 4 separate heroes. There's Fighter, Defender, Archer. Oh, I can't remember the other one now. Great. There's another one, anyway, but the main point is he's a ranged unit and can do high velocity DPS away. So we've got skirmish supremacy here, so I imagine they're going to try and close the distance against us, and we'll put our archers higher up on the front. So my frontline spears can hold, while my clubs can pivot and rotate and flank. We'll move Paris up as well. He has some pretty unique buffs in his tree as well. He can shoot while running. He has various archer upgrades. But also for him, there's certain gods that boost Priam's favor. For example, if we do hatacombs and prayers to Apollo, Priam's going to like that more if we go sort of down the line of Zeus and Hera and whatnot. So we'll try and get as much battles as we can. I hope you guys enjoy this Paris campaign Let's Play. I plan to do obviously 2 more videos, and I can't wait to see how we end up, because this one we're going to be conquering, we're going to be building, we're not going to be rushing Sparta or Athens or Agamemnon or anything just yet. We're going to be sort of waiting for the Achaean host. Now, it did say Hector was the defender of Troy, and he's going to sort of defend it. There's already, what, probably 30 units defending Troy, so I have no fear of it being rushed, but you never know. Also, please do take into consideration that obviously we only can do 40 turns, like I've mentioned before, but it's also locked to normal difficulties. You can't put that up. But I think it's okay as a good baseline to sort of see how the AI reacts, how the AI moves. I always, when I started brand new Total War, I always do a test campaign on normal, and play 20 to 30 turns, just to actually see how the campaign, the trade and stuff performs and whatnot. So they're charging up here. We're using archers primarily in this build. Skirmishers have been incredibly strong, as they are in most other Total Wars, but now with archers with added damage and DPS, less ammunition, but with the armor-piercing properties, I'm curious to see how Paris's army performs on the battlefield against the Achaeans and whatnot. So they're pushing uphill against me, and we're starting to rain fire and death upon them. In Troy, you can actually change the arrow fire options as well. I've just kept it on normal, but you can make it very translucent if that's something you would like to see. So they've smashed upon our front line like water on rock, and we're just running down the last of the Achaean loyalists. I think it was an Ionian king. The majority of his forces were back towards the island of Lesbos, which we'll have to push down further south as well. But my archers have absolutely rip-roared right through the enemy combatants, and we just want to try and finish off here. So the Menelaus first battle was a little bit harder, but archers have done tremendously well here today. 87 men only lost, and we've won the first battle with ease. We're going to take on the warriors. Well, we could actually get the money if we want, but we're going to take on the replenishment so we can push upon their city. So straight up, cheat of Hades or Centaur drill. Now, Asia Minor is an interesting spot in the campaign, incredibly rich in Troy, more so than the Achaean lands, but they also have access to unique units. The Amazonian territory, especially down towards Lesbos, allows you to get the unique skirmisher Amazon unit, and further into the hills and mountain range we'll be able to get Centaur cavalry units, so stay tuned for that. So we want to be able to move Helen as we go around and conquer more territories where we can. My brother has managed to knock out the Ionian king and push the remaining of his forces back to Lesbos. So we're going to have to do an amphibious attack on them, and we'll continue to push south. So we'll ally up where we can against our ethnically Trojan allies, and we'll try and phase out the sort of Eastern Greek kings that are not with us. So we're going to push further south here now into Lesbos. Paris has 12 units. 3 units of axemen being recruited now. We've got 4 archers in total. And the island of, well, Lesbos still has 2 units of territory we can take. One of my allies, or who I'm sort of close with, has actually taken the main capital, which is interesting. Hector's conquering and pushing as well. Not overly protecting Troy, but so be it. I'm curious to see how aggressive Achilles, Odysseus, Agamemnon and Menelaus are. Do they sort of target, because we got about 10:30, 10:35 there were events and callings for Troy in that campaign, so I'm curious to see how this Paris series ends up. So we're going to be able to take Lesbos, or whatever you say that. We'll chuck a quick save, and we'll fight this one on the battlefield. 75, I don't know, 65% in our favour. So this is a town battle, so it's kind of an open field battle, but not, because there's a city in the background there. We're not fighting out in front of it like some of the Menelaus battles. So there are a few choke points as we push in. We've got 3 units of axes now, and an accompany 4 units of archers, so we should be able to skirmish and phase out any unit that overextends. But here are the towns in Troy, A Total War Saga, littered with an assortment of animals. We've got a pig and a cow here, which is really quite cool. I would have liked to see villagers roam around, but I guess it's maybe realistic that there's 1,000 Achaeans outside. I'm sure you would put the stove on and sort of hide in your house. You wouldn't be running around like previous Total Wars. There's even some roosters here as well. Shout out to the guy who modelled the roosters. I love showing off your work here. We've got a donkey here as well. Yeah, because they would have had like an animal assets guy have to go around and make these little animals. I love it. I love it so much. So we'll try and surround the city as best we can. They've divided into essentially 5 pockets, and we'll try and match them, closing the distance with our infantry, and then getting our archers up on the top of this hill and getting skirmisher supremacy and reducing the hit points of their infantry. Now this time around there isn't a proper archer general, so that's good. We'll be able to focus him out with Paris. So the quicker we can sort of conquer the east, the more armies we'll be able to muster and defend Asia Minor, defend Trojan lands from the evading Achaeans, and defend my wife. Right, so we'll push up there, and we'll get you to target that as well. So I do plan to do campaigns once I get full access to Troy. I want to do 1 Achaean/Dinan series. I'm thinking Achilles. For the Trojans, I kind of like Aeneas, but from what I've played so far of Paris, as a ranged unit, very much invoking Orlando Bloom and Legolas and sort of Marcus Wolfhoff. He's got some really cool, like, I really like skirmishers in the later Total Wars. They're a lot of fun, and they're so useful. So we're actually not doing too well against the Amazonians there that we've tried to push straight on. They got a good volley off on my heavier infantry. So we're trying to flank and pivot where we can. Yeah, so maybe I need to hold a vote on the community page on the channel. Let me know in the comments. So my axemen are holding here for now, while my Trojan archers are raining fire and death upon them. They've turned around now. But we're coming hand to hand in combat with the Amazonians, which are limited recruitment in certain zones around Troy, A Total War Saga. You can get 2 in the island of Lesbos. They've got really good javelins and decent melee / aggressive and defensive sort of tactics, so they can really hold their own in melee. So my weaker units are actually fleeing back sort of here. I'm going to have to try and skirmish the infantry out as best as we can. But I'll be able to do slow, methodical, like hour-long Let's Plays once I get the game at full release. But at the moment, like I said, I have to sort of edit and cut down as best you can. I want to try and cram as much content for you guys as I can. But so far, we're winning this fight. And we'll be able to take our first piece of territory in the island of Lesbos. 1 down, many more to come. Here's hoping. It actually got quite close towards the end there. These Amazonians are really holding their own against my axemen. And they're actually aggressively pushing out against me. We're going to have to really rely on my archers towards the end here. Yeah, I'm quite surprised even my medium axe units are getting shredded. But it was a close victory. We lost 525. And they obviously lost their settlement and the garrison. So that's our first town. It's not really a siege battle, but it's just a town battle. It wasn't on the open field. But we'll be able to loot and occupy our first territory in Lesbos for Paris. And here is the exceptional warriors found. We're going to be able to move Helen now, because we don't want her to get upset, of course. It is going to cost us 300 food, but we'll be able to bring her over. So it's actually giving us a -6 unhappiness. So I guess in the sort of harder difficulties, not so much as really affecting us earlier now, but I guess that can compound, and she sort of might be a bit of a public order dead weight if you don't sort of build up your grain supply quick enough. So we've managed to muster 70 units now with Paris, and we're about to secure the entire island of Lesbos for the Trojans. So there's 8 in there now, and this is the region capital, so it could be a siege. I have played a field and multiple siege battles in the Menelaus series, so stay tuned for that. But I'm going to be doing 3 episodes of this Troy series, so stay tuned for more Total War content coming over the weeks and months, hopefully. Okay, let's do a quick save and a hard save, and let's secure the island for Prince Paris of Troy. Now, after that first siege, I've gone out and recruited 2 units of these Amazonian javelin women, you could say. They performed quite well against me. The enemy combatants have deployed some, well, stake deployables on the left-hand side, so they're going to be able to slow us down through that choke point. I've also brought up some more spearmen, just for numerical supremacy. They haven't done too well on the field. My axemen have done alright, so we've got some clubs here as well. So we have 6 skirmish units, 4 being archers, 2 being just javelinmen. The rest of my army made up of 3 medium axes and 5 spears to 2 light clubs. So we'll try and surround them as best we can, but the topography of this battlefield is looking a little bit tricky. Can we deploy this way? Maybe. We'll just try and surround as best we can. They have 2 generals inside, which always complicates things, especially in Troy when they've got between 5,000 to 6,000 hit points. So they're a little bit harder to take out. But let's have a look at the units here now. So here is Paris, Prince of Troy. He can actually get a chariot mount as well further on the campaign, but here are the first exceptional warriors that we can get. Kind of similar to Regiment of Renown, but they're sort of recruited throughout provinces, and we can get them in the island of Lesbos. Equipped with heavy-hitting javelins, the Amazonians can quite well, you saw in the last battle, hold their own in hand-to-hand combat. But at the moment we only get 2 of them. We can obviously upgrade the cap through various religious invocations, I guess, and through tech and whatnot as well. But from what I can tell, there seems to be more of these exceptional unit pools in Asia Minor, in modern-day Turkey. We've got centaurs over here, and a wealth of resources and riches and valuable cities. So we'll build up an empire as quickly as we can, so we can throw back the Achaean dogs from whence they came. And we're also competing for the air ship with my brother Hector as well. So my archers are pushing up here, raining fire upon the Achaean sympathizers inside. We want to try and soften them up as best we can, reduce their hit points, and then we'll send in our infantry a little bit later. Come on, Paris. So they haven't pushed out against me overly too much. My Amazonian javelin women are starting to skirmish quite well and competently up and over the top of my infantry. Maybe we can cause a enemy charge if we're lucky. But Paris is renowned for his archer supremacy in Troy Total War in the campaign, and we seem to be absolutely rip-roaring through the enemy combatants. We don't want them to give chase, though. Hold the line, please.
The foe has sighted your hidden units.
But we are heavily reducing their medium to heavier tier units. So we'll try and skirmish as many as we can. The more Trojan lives we can save, the better. But I'm curious to see as well, like, who's going to conquer the bigger kingdom. Like, essentially Hector, myself, and my cousin Aeneas are going to be unharassed by the major Western powers. Like, I'm going to try and take as many territories as possible as quick as I can as well. I'm not going to be taking any time liberties because I've only got 40 turns. But the quicker we can build up, the better. And we'll be able to throw back the Achaeans
One of your units has
when
no more
they
ammunition.
set sail. I can't allow them to get as close as we did to Troy in that last video. But yeah, I do recommend checking out the Epic Game Store page. Troy's coming out on the 13th of August, the 14th in Australia. Only for the first 24 hours you can get it for free. Yeah. I really wouldn't want you guys to miss out on a free game, so just go check it out. Make sure you get the time conversion right. Put a little note on your desktop so you can go check it out. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to hold a vote. But let me know in the comments suggestions for campaigns you'd like me to do.
Has no more ammunition.
I still think Achilles and... I was thinking Paris, but I've gotten access to Paris early, so maybe Aeneas. That'll be quite cool. So we're just trying to skirmish as many of the enemy combatants as we can. And save my infantry, because I pushed and rushed them, being a little bit more aggressive in the first fight. I thought they could hold their own, but no. To be fair, they did have their garrison of Amazonian women, so they did shred us quite a bit. Okay, we'll push further up here as well. So they're starting to sort of get funneled in within here. We want to try and focus their generals now. So the infantry are charging in. And for this first episode here today, it looks like we're going to be able to secure the island for Paris. Give Helen, I guess, a new holiday home, a new villa. Okay. We'll allow some to get to the town square to, I guess, start the countdown and reduce some of the battlefield morale buffs.
Victory.
Paris has taken a little bit of a battering. He's lost about 60% of his army there. Or his army always. I don't think we've lost 60% of army. I think we're doing quite well. 60% of his health, I say. But we'll push him into some of the defenders and the protectors.
Your warriors
maybe he's better off fighting the skirmisher. He's a little bit weaker. Oh, we have victory, so we can end that one there. So guys, unfortunately it's time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching episode 1 of my Total War Saga Troy Paris campaign. Stay tuned for episode 2 and 3 coming out a little bit later. Got to say a huge thank you to the Creative Assembly for making this video possible. Much love from Australia. My name has been Simpzy. Goodbye.